Dames en heren, mesdames et messieurs, chers amis, chers collègues, beste vrienden. In naam van Paul Dujardin, CEO en Artistic Director, en Sophie Lauwers, directrice van het departement Exposition, tentoonstellingen, heb ik het plezier jullie vanavond te mogen verwelkomen in BOZAR voor een zeer belangrijk evenement, een vernissage, de tweede jaar op rij van een lezingenreeks en een tentoonstelling die daaruit voortvloeit, die door de Université de Liège en A+ en het VAI zijn georganiseerd en hier dan aanleiding geven tot een tentoonstelling. Alors on est très content, heureux, pas tellement uniquement parce qu'on est entouré de très bons partenaires, le VAI d'Anvers, A+, Architecture in Belgium, notre partenaire pour une grosse partie de notre programmation d'architecture, mais aussi l'Université de Liège. Pas uniquement parce qu'on est entouré de bons partenaires, mais aussi parce que le résultat de cette collaboration et le résultat de l'exposition qu'on va ouvrir aujourd'hui est exceptionnellement belle et réussite et explore aussi des nouveaux formats d'exposition. Je vais en terminer ici parce qu'il y a 4 introductions avant qu'on va donner la parole aux architectes eux-mêmes. Alors je donne directement la parole à Sophie de Kenny du Vlaams Architectuur Instituut. Sophie.
Bonsoir tout le monde. De la part du VAI, je suis très heureuse de vous voir tous ici. Pour l'Institut de l'Architecture de Flandre, le VAI, le projet ACROS est très important parce qu'on est convaincu qu'une culture architecturale dynamique ne peut exister qu'en stimulant le travail des jeunes architectes. Je voudrais remercier d'abord Lisa de Visser, Lara Molino et Roxane Legrel de A+, pour l'initiative et la production de l'expo et la collaboration excellente. L'Université de Liège pour le partenariat dans la série des conférences et Ivan Strauve et BOZAR pour l'exposition. Mais je voudrais aussi remercier les jeunes architectes qui participent au projet. Merci pour l'enthousiasme avec lequel vous avez travaillé sur l'exposition et la conférence. On était bien étonnés par la variété des histoires dans votre conférence et les différents objets dans la présentation. Ça montre déjà la richesse des différentes attitudes dans cette génération. De keuze voor jonge ontwerpers is ingegeven vanuit een dubbele optiek. Ten eerste beseffen we dat er een fundamenteel verschil is tussen werk maken enerzijds, dat gebeurt meestal aan de tekentafel, en de reflectie over het werk anderzijds. En voor verschillende bureaus in de reeks was de lezing binnen de ACROS-reeks een van de eerste keren dat ze hun werk aan het publiek lieten zien. En het is vaak een eerste uitnodiging om van op een afstand te kijken naar het eigen parcours. Te trachten om een rode draad te definiëren in het werk, die vervolgens het werk zelf weer beïnvloedt. En in die zin is de keuze voor jonge ontwerpers een forum te geven, expliciet emancipatorisch van insteek. We vinden het belangrijk om dit soort fora te blijven creëren. Ik vind het eigenlijk onze verdomde plicht om te investeren in deze generatie. En als de minister beslist om projectbeurzen af te bouwen voor jonge ontwerpers en kunstenaars, dan denk ik dat hij daarop zal terugkomen. En met kleine projecten zoals ACROS willen we net voeling krijgen met deze generatie en hen een professioneel kader bieden om hun werk te presenteren. Ten tweede willen we met de keuze voor jonge bureaus ook een brug slaan. Een brug tussen 2 taalgemeenschappen in dit land. En heel anders dan in de jaren 80 of 90 merken we dat deze generatie niet meer spontaan in elkaars vaarwater komt of met elkaar in contact komt. En we willen hier bewust aan werken. Dialoog blijft belangrijk en verrijkt de cultuur. We laden ons op met buitenlandse voorbeelden, maar we weten soms niet wat er dicht bij huis aan interessante bureaus aan het ontwikkelen zijn. En we hopen daarin tegemoet te komen. J'aimerais donner la parole à Lisa de Visser, directrice artistique de A+, et je vous souhaite une bonne soirée. Merci beaucoup.
Bonsoir à tous. Dankjewel, Ivan, Sophie, voor deze mooie inleidingen. à la fois de la part de A+ Architecture in Belgium et de la part de la faculté d'architecture de l'Université de Liège, je voudrais souligner l'intérêt de cette plateforme que nous offrons, nous, avec donc, le VAI et avec BOZAR, à ces jeunes architectes. Une plateforme qui s'étend donc, dans le pays entier, au-delà des deux communautés linguistiques et qui favorise l'échange entre elles. Donc, nous sommes à une époque où le pays et la culture sont de plus en plus scindés. Et nous sommes convaincus que ce projet ACROSS, un projet bilingue, et qui cherche à apprendre et à se nourrir des deux cultures architecturales des deux côtés, est plus que nécessaire. En daarom organiseren we voor het tweede jaar op rij deze tentoonstelling, waarbij jonge architecten, 8 bureaus, 4 uit Vlaanderen, 4 uit Franstalig België, en die allemaal dus een lezing gaven in Luik en in Antwerpen, uitgenodigd worden om hun werk te tonen. We zorgen letterlijk voor een vitrine voor die jonge architecten. Want de tentoonstelling vindt plaats buiten het paleis, aan de ingang van de Ravenstein-galerij. En we zetten de architecten letterlijk in een gigantisch uitstalraam in de spotlights. We hebben de architecten gevraagd om een selectie te maken van een reeks objecten waarmee zij hun werking, hun visie, hun methode kunnen uitleggen. Het gaat over maquettes, het gaat over boeken, over ready-mades, over tekeningen enzovoort. Elke week wordt 1 bureau naar voren geplaatst in de vitrine en de 7 andere bureaus wachten hun beurt af in een gigantisch rek dat achter de vitrine geplaatst wordt en een soort van schouwlager voorstelt. Elke week veranderen we dus de scénographie. Le premier bureau qui sera mis en valeur est AGMEN et qui montrera donc sa sélection d'objets à partir de demain. Mais ce soir, à l'occasion de ce vernissage, qui est une exception, nous avons fait un choix d'un objet par bureau que nous avons mis en avant afin que chaque bureau soit représenté. Donc c'est une exposition qui a visité et a revisité, puisqu'en fait, la scénographie change chaque semaine. C'est aussi une exposition qu'on peut visiter 24 heures sur 24 et 7 jours sur 7, parce qu'on la visite depuis l'espace public. Et surtout avec les journées qui deviennent de plus en plus courtes, c'est une vitrine qui est éclairée et qui fonctionne comme une sorte de lanterne sur la ville. Tout à l'heure, lors du Pechakucha, quand tous les 8 bureaux vont présenter leur projet, leur bureau, ils vont le faire à travers les objets qu'ils ont sélectionnés pour l'exposition. Ce cycle de conférences et l'exposition n'auraient jamais été possibles sans le soutien de notre partenaire Lafarge Holcim Awards et la Fondation Lafarge Holcim pour la construction durable. Les awards sont organisés tous les 2 ans, depuis 2005, pour ceux qui ne savaient pas. Et ce n'est pas par hasard que nous travaillons ensemble, parce que les Lafarge Holcim Awards soutiennent également la jeune architecture grâce à leur catégorie Next Generation, et aussi, par exemple, les gagnants de la dernière édition de 2017 étaient 2 jeunes bureaux en ex-aequo, Tetra Architecten et BC Architects, qui ont gagné le premier prix pour l'Europe avec 2 projets au long du canal ici à Bruxelles. Donc, cette année, il y a la 6e édition des Awards, qui est toujours ouverte pour soumission jusqu'au 25 février 2020. Et Christian Borret, à qui on passera la parole tout à l'heure, et qui introduira tout à l'heure les jeunes bureaux, est d'ailleurs un des membres du jury international. Net zoals elke lezing tijdens de lezingenreeks in Luik en Antwerpen werd ingeleid door een lokaal en een gevestigd architect, willen we ook deze tentoonstelling laten inleiden door een Brusselse autoriteit. En daarom hebben we Christian Borret, bouwmeester, maître architect van het Brussels Hoofdstedelijk Gewest, uitgenodigd om vanavond te spreken. De bouwmeester is immers een belangrijke speler in het traject van jonge architecten in België en hij kan door zijn beleid al dan niet ook kansen geven aan jonge architecten om toegang te krijgen tot publieke opdrachten. Maar voor ik het woord geef aan Christian, zou ik ook graag onze andere partners willen bedanken. La Cellule Architecture de la Fédération Wallonie-Bruxelles, merci beaucoup pour ce soutien depuis tant d'années. Culture en Urban Brussels. Hartelijk dank ook aan de partners. Er zijn al veel bedankingen heen en weer gesmeten, maar dus nog eens hartelijk dank Sophie de Quigny, Iwan Strauven voor het VAI en BOZAR en Jacques de Fer voor Liège. Merci évidemment à tous les architectes qui ont participé cette année. Et finalement, je voudrais remercier aussi l'équipe qui a réalisé cette exposition, Lara Molino en Roxane de Grel, Louise van Latem, Petrus Kemme, Egon Verleijen en de scenografen LMS, Lin Vin, Thomas Mertens, Jochem Schamelhout en Vormen. Hartelijk dank hiervoor en ik zou graag het woord geven aan Christian.
Bonjour à tout le monde, goedenavond allemaal. Hello to everybody. C'est une formule pecha-kucha, donc je ne vais pas parler pour plus de 7 minutes. Et alors, je ne vais remercier personne. De mon côté, j'ai certainement parmi cette jeunesse dorée rassemblée ici, j'ai un certain âge. Ik draai al een tijd mee en het is niet de eerste tentoonstelling van jonge architecten die ik meemaak. Het mag klinken als een evidentie, maar beste jonge architecten, voor u waren er andere jonge architecten. Ik heb nog tentoonstellingen gezien of boeken gelezen waarin Stefan Beel werd opgevoerd als jonge architect. Paul Robrecht, Marie-José Vanet of Xavier de Geiter, allemaal jonge architecten. Et puis, il y a eu une vague de jeunes architectes, encore une fois, qui ont travaillé chez ces architectes assez bien connus, qui ont travaillé chez Stéphane Beel, Paul Robrecht, Marie-José Vanet, Xavier de Geiter, ou ici à Bruxelles, chez Olivier Bastin ou Pierre Blondel. La génération post, elle a été labellisée, ce qui était exact, parce que dans beaucoup de cas, ils ont effectivement travaillé dans ces grands bureaux. Et ce qui est par contre également pas du tout exact, parce que bien sûr, ils ont fait autre chose que copier, répéter ce qu'ont fait leur père et leur mère. Aujourd'hui, avec cette nouvelle édition de Acros, il y a encore une fois une nouvelle récolte de jeunes architectes. Et alors, est-ce que c'est la génération post-post ou post-post-post-post? C'est pas clair. Ce qui est clair, c'est qu'il y a en Belgique, de manière continue, toujours des vagues successives de jeunes architectes. Et ce qui est assez particulier, toujours avec beaucoup de qualité, beaucoup de réussite, toujours une architectuur interessant. In die reeks opeenvolgende golven zitten ook een paar interessante evoluties. Terwijl die allereerste generatie architecten solo's waren, personen waren, genieën, is er vandaag geen enkel bureau dat maar onder één naam gaat. Het zijn altijd samenwerkingsverbanden, het zijn duo's, trio's, ze zijn met meerdere. De naam verwijst niet naar de persoonlijkheid van de ene architect. Dus er is veel meer een soort collectief werk aan de gang. Niet alleen binnen het bureau, maar ik denk ook in samenwerking met andere bureaus. Ik zie vanuit mijn praktijk meer en meer dat jonge architectenbureaus samenwerken voor wedstrijden, met andere architectenbureaus team vormen. Wellicht is dat deels uit opportunisme om aan voldoende referenties te komen, om te mogen meedoen. Maar ik geloof ook dat er een soort oprechte interesse in zit om samen te werken, om zich te laten uitdagen, om iets anders te proberen, om bevrucht, beïnvloed te worden door een andere. Il y a une deuxième évolution qui est assez intéressante, c'est que 5 des 8 bureaux sont bruxellois. Ik ben daar natuurlijk heel blij mee. En ik denk dat het feit dat er 5 van de 8 bureaus Brussels zijn, maar vooral op welke manier ze Brussels zijn, ook zeer tekenend is voor Brussel. Dus 5 van die 8 bureaus zijn van Brussel en zijn eigenlijk gemengde bureaus. Soms zeer politiek correct, Franstalig, Nederlandstalig. Soms niet-Brusselaars, mensen die van elders komen. Maar misschien is de Brusselaar die van elders komt eigenlijk ondertussen de echte Brusselaar. Wat ons kenmerkt hier is juist die métissage, het feit dat er iets transnationaals gebeurt, dat er iets metanationaals gebeurt, dat er iets gebeurt dat voorbij dat soort nationalismen gaat. En tant que BMA, on veut soutenir ce genre de bureau. Donc de là que, par exemple, vraiment dans les critères de sélection, ce qu'on maîtrise dans les procédures de marché et des concours, on a la volonté toujours de rendre les conditions d'accès assez bas. On a supprimé dans beaucoup de cas l'exigence minimale par rapport au chiffre d'affaires. On accepte par exemple aussi les références qui sont liées à une expérience personnelle. Ça veut dire on peut présenter une référence d'un projet pour lequel on a travaillé, par exemple, comme chef de projet dans un autre bureau, mais qui n'est pas alors la référence du bureau même. Donc de cette manière, on veut, de notre côté, ouvrir le marché aux 109, aux bureaux jeunes, à d'autres architectes que les architectes habituels. Apparemment, je pense qu'on ne le fait pas suffisamment bien, parce qu'il y a plusieurs bureaux dont je dois avouer que je ne les connais presque pas, ou de toute façon que je n'ai pas encore rencontré dans une des procédures BMA. Donc je pense qu'il y a un effort à faire de votre côté, donc venez travailler à Bruxelles, mais aussi de notre côté, chez BMA, pour rendre vraiment accessible encore de manière plus avancée les procédures de bureau, les procédures de marché. Goed dat zo'n tentoonstelling er is, goed dat A+ en BOZAR dat doen vanuit cultureel perspectief en zeker over de taalgrens heen. Goed dat er solide culturele instellingen zijn, zoals het Vlaamse Architectuurinstituut, het CIVA in Brussel en nog niet solide, maar het zal solide worden, l'Institut Culturel d'Architectuur Wallonie-Bruxelles, ook sinds afgelopen dinsdag. Zonder pretentieus te willen zijn, goed ook dat er bouwmeesters zijn die zorgen dat jonge architecten kansen krijgen door de opdrachtenverlening voldoende open te maken. En goed dat er meer bouwmeesters komen, ook in Wallonië nu. Niet goed dat er in Vlaanderen dan weer bespaard wordt. Net het meest en het hardst op de subsidies voor projecten, voor nieuwe projecten, en dus op het werk van aankomend talent van de jonge architecten. Laten we ons niet laten doen. Laten we tonen dat jonge architectuur nodig is voor de continue vernieuwing van het vakgebied, nodig is voor de uitdagingen die zich stellen qua samenleven, qua stedelijkheid en qua klimaat. Dus, beste jonge architecten, wees niet zozeer jeune et jolie, maar wees radicaal. Soyez radicaux, be radical.
Good evening, everyone. We were asked to speak in English, so we will do that. We are very honored to be invited for the first lecture in February and now this exhibition. Thank you very much. We're a small office based in Brussels. We have been working together since we were students, and we started with our first project in 2013, and starting from 2016 on a full-time basis. And this year, Maarten, Pieter Jan, and Adrien joined our team, so we're growing. We start with this axonometry of our exposition, which starts tomorrow. It's very exciting. We believe it to be a very good representation of our office. A wide variety of different objects, drawings, pictures, and models show our diverse way of thinking. Michiel and Paul will talk now about themes and aspects in architecture that interest us and are represented in the objects we chose for the exhibition.
So, we believe architecture has to be seen as a part of a process, a permanent evolution. Every project starts from an expression of a certain wish or need, but it always, and above all, influenced by its context, built or not built, its past or its contemporary meaning. All interventions add a new layer to this and thus become part of it. Here we appreciate the visibility of time and layers and the dialogue between them. the dialogue between different matters and atmospheres, the apart simplicity of a well-conceived vision. This object is a mock-up of the previous project, and away from its context, it's a bit a funny object, but it shows its structural readability and its honesty we are looking for in projects. Our work often results in pronounced architectural characters, well-chosen materials, define specific identity of the buildings. The plan shows a atypical annex that is shaped by its immediately surroundings and the volume that was already there. We think the volume is interesting on its own, but that it gives as well a certain quality to the traditional plan, but that it's meaningful as well in this context. Nevertheless, we design humble buildings, like the building that almost seems to disappear in the landscape here. They feel familiar, honest, solid, and timeless in a way.
We search for a good balance between good balance and proportion between the built volumes and the voids in between. The volumes, they interact and they actually shape each other in their mutual relationship. Together they form a unique ensemble, which is both serene and also actually quite good. The facades of these co-housing projects, they actually form a background for a shared moment inside an inner courtyard of this co-housing project. This is a model, just a working model of another project. It's a project in collaboration with Architecten. We see a new kindergarten and the renovation of an arts house in Anderlecht. Here as well, actually, the volumetry is shaped by its direct surroundings and by the program. It clearly shows the two entities who are inside of the building, and in between them, actually, a meditating volume. Two voids give space, space for to go to breathe, actually, but also these two spaces organize the two buildings in a way. Very obvious, but very important to us. Architecture does not stand on its own. Architecture makes space, but also moments, and we believe that in our way of looking at architecture, we pay a lot of attention to the actual users of it. So these moments, they can be, in a way, like in a fixed architecture with fixed moments, but you can also have the free moments in architecture who actually leaves more possible. We like to create places for meeting and for interaction, and we like a lively architecture. We seek for that. We also seek for joy, for little surprises. Buildings open and they give perspectives, several perspectives. Old and new interact. Once they touch each other, another time they leave some space. Boundaries, they get flu. And spaces inside and outside, they become one. We clearly also like to make spaces which have a kind of freedom spaces. All of that we try to combine in every project and in every level of that project. We try to keep that in mind. Here, Actually, we like to do that from the first idea, from the first conception to the last technical drawings on the construction site. From the general idea of opening up a space and giving freedom to that space to a very detailed conception of a tile pattern which actually relates also to the existing interior inside of the building. These were some themes that are important for us inside architecture, and we would like to thank you very much for your attention and to be here.
Good evening, everybody. I will try to do my best in English. 5 minutes, that was the idea. So, if the question was, you bring objects to this exhibition, our idea was maybe really to talk about the objects and not about the projects on itself. The time is not there. So, our starting point was actually, we will do it quite quick in the way that we really took a piece of our office to the exhibition. It means two things: that we want to show a kind of daily reality of the object that surrounds us every day. And it also means that at this moment our office is quite empty. So we would appreciate if it does not as a traveling exhibition. It would be great for us. I will just show you 4 objects, but maybe they play a key role in the timeline of VERS.A. The first one is this model for a single-family house in Machelen. In fact, it was our very first architectural submission for friends of us. And I think at that time, it was in 2009, we were searching how we could, have a kind of formal interaction, or we searched for a very spatial way of producing architecture. Let's say it was a kind of beginning, and the house for us, when it was constructed, the pleasure was that we could really say that producing all these models it had some use, because what we searched in, it was present in the house. That was a good thing. So the second object is another key element in our work. It was when we were able to have a real office, a physical office here in Brussels. It was the pavilion for Marimon that we designed in 2011, and it seems to belong to the same family of the single-family house, but the starting point was totally different, because we developed together with Util a kind of perfect wedding between the form, the structure, and the materiality of this little pavilion. And ever since, because of this small project, we still have a kind of strong focus on how these 3 elements, form, structure, and material, work together. And it is visible in many of the projects we worked on and we still work on. Sorry, unfortunately, this pavilion we were not able to construct. There was an execution dossier. Everything was there, but it was too expensive. And meanwhile, the maquette is broken in 2 parts, but it is in the exposition. But maybe it's a kind of symbol of how the process for this project went. This object, I want to talk about the object, not about the program, but just to show the pleasure and the joy we have in producing it. I think for us, we see the models not as a kind of work models. We are really bad at making work models. It's always, but we see it as a way to communicate with clients and also as the end of a design process. And if we make these models, the moment to be there is stressful, because a lot of our models are in plaster, and you never know what you will get. And for example, this object that is also in the exhibition, I can compare it with the work of a kind of archaeologist. We had to peel off layer by layer, and then the object came was there. So it was good that the final step was we didn't mix up the layers of the how you say bekisting. The last project is the model for Parts Ictus Rosas, a competition that we recently won together with our friends of OUEST Architecture, and I thank the bouwmeester. So this is for us maybe a key moment in our work, I don't know. But what is more important is that we try to have in an increasing scale or program, we try to keep the same attitude, the same approach to not only in the production, but also how we approach the real project and how we will develop it together with OUEST. So as a conclusion, I can say that the objects, there are many more, but that for us the importance is that they keep, in fact, project alive. When a project is done, all the paperwork, all the drawings, they are put on servers, in archives, but the objects on themselves, they have a physical presence, and they are witness of a kind of moment in the work we do, so that is the real importance for us. Thank you very much, and I wish you a good evening and enjoy the exhibition. Thank you.
Our first image, we gave it a place of honor because it's the model we forgot to put in the exhibition. As it wasn't at our office the moment we were putting everything together. Across brought a lot of joy to our office, and we felt also very welcomed in Luik. That evening was maybe for us like a cup of hot milk with honey on a very rainy day. And it rains a lot on architects' shoulders some days. However, the sunny part is in these things, and also in the making, together with the finest people, working on these results that we put together tonight, and that are very often in between results, like models and drawings, but these in-between results sometimes bring more pleasure than the buildings do afterwards, as it never rains in models or drawings. We chose to put mostly models on the windowsills and combine it with 2 times a small series of photographs on the reveal of the 2 windows, and then you will see 3 times a V form, which is a diptych of only drawings, and the 3 diptychs stand for drawings of projects that only exist in drawings at the moment. This is one of the first diptychs for the Plantentuin in Meissen, which is a lost competition. We had also the last year students of La Cambre visiting us, and I think they visited most of the across offices to have a look at our production and to compare how hard or in what way offices thought about their not built production, like drawings and models and Photoshops and AutoCAD files and everything. And they asked if we wanted a MURMUUR signature on this paper production as well. And we were not really prepared for that question, but thinking about it, we noticed that we did have a kind of MURMUUR signature in our AutoCAD drawings, as you see on the right side, as it's something that repeats itself sometimes, and we try to keep them lively with people in it, and we even found out how we can make plants grow in Vectorworks. But it appears only in the CAD drawings, and the students made us feel a bit like we should be worried that we didn't control enough the drawings and the Photoshops and the models, and there was not a clear way. But
we ended up being proud about it and not seeing the need for that. And maybe you can see it in the sketch on the left side. It's made by Silke, one of our collaborators, and we're very happy that she did it on her way, and we don't have to control these things. And her drawing captured this project perfectly. It also gives a bit the trust to have people doing things better than you can do them yourself. A second diptych is a project in CAMPENHOUT, which will also not be built for a home for elderly people. It's 2 cat drawings, and you see a bit the repetition from the previous one on the right side, but the other one is an unraveling of the garden and the building. And then a diptych that's from a project that will hopefully be built. It's a Gravensteen in Ghent, a competition we won in the summer, and we're working on it right now. And it's Photoshop images made by Victor, and he started from the old Gravensteen drawings, as we had no good measurements available. Gravensteen is a project together with Doge and Meegang Architects, and Sabine Okkers is our restoration architect. Besides these diptychs, we present mostly models, and we tried to put together models from all different scales of projects. This is the biggest one we're building right now, together with Robrecht and Daam, and it's the new house for the City Council of Sint-Niklaas. After a lot of working in the computer, we were very, very happy to finally feel the building in something that showed material and structure and color. Yeah, I put the plans sometimes behind it, and a totally different scale. It's a project in Newport for a shoe shop, where the furniture has to make the shop and confirm the division of the structure. And this is a project for my mom, one of our clients, and she's also a ceramist, and she made the model of her own garden pavilion after we built it. And it's actually very interesting to see, because she had to simplify it maybe a little bit, but still the object looks like it was so easy. And if you compare it with the real picture, where the materials start to change, you see it's not so easy, or it becomes more varied a lot when you see the windows and the colors and the placement in the garden. And this is one of the series of pictures we put on the window reveal. They happen to be all something with a tree, a big old tree that is the center of the, not at the first one, but it's 2 gardens, the center of the garden. A model from a house in the Vlaamse Ardennen, seen from above. A model of our project in Ronse, where we have one of our offices, and where our own office will have a small place in the building, in the corner in between on the right. And last, the study of door handles we made for another exhibition, where we had to work after our favorite architect, which we chose here to be Alvar Aalto, and we made a door handle that should look like a stone, and that you could pick up the way the stone came out of the door. And we'd like to end with this picture. It's one of the second series, together also it's Karton 1, 2, 3 and AE, and it's a nice picture to say, have a nice evening and take the joy.
Goedenavond, bonsoir, good evening. Thanks for inviting us to Across. I know Across before being invited, and I always thought it's a very nice initiative. And I always thought also it was not for us, because we are across. OUEST is a bastard office. We are Flemish, French-speaking, whatever, Esperanto, Kokolice. No, seriously, we are not French-speaking, we are not Dutch-speaking, we are bilingual. So I think that maybe for the staff it was not easy to decide where to let us speak, in Antwerp or in Liège. To make it short, we are an architecture office and we do projects. That's short, no? And for the website, and in 5 minutes I don't think we have time to get into all the projects. I think that on the image also you can quickly see that we work on different scales, but also there is a kind of autonomy of aesthetics and vocabulary for each project. We are very interested in context and playing with context, but not fixed to one specific tool or aesthetics. And for this exhibition, we decided to show only one project, a series of objects linked to that project. Le Rideau de Bruxelles, it's a symbolic project for the office because it was the first competition we won. It was the first moment where Jan Arends, that project became partner of the office, really started the production of the last 5 years. So it's a small theater here in Brussels, and yeah, that one is not interesting. And yeah, we want to show the objects linked to this project because it's also, I mean, like most of the project, but of course, interesting moment with clients. No, in this case, the staff of Théâtre Le Rideau. It's nice to speak about them here in BOZAR. I think they were here for 50 years, I think, before having their own place. And the project is located in Ixelles. You don't see much things from the street. It's kind of organized in the inner plot, and we had to basically reorganize things in existing buildings. And one of the images that was really important for us was a art of work, a piece of art by Michelangelo Pistoletto. And this is a kind of mock-up we did a few weeks ago of the reference image of Pistoletto. Jan went to the Place du Jeu de Balle when the nice piece of art. We are sorry for the piece of art, it doesn't exist anymore. And with the help of Recyclar, we made this mock-up. This is the very first model we did for the project. In the project, basically, it's, as I said, mostly about reorganizing things. And there is a kind of key object in the project, which is a patio in the center. That's why this image of Pistoletto also comes from, trying to organize things, but also keep disorder. No, I think that we are more interested in playing with the context than trying to solve problems. And then after the competition was won, we had to be a bit more serious, and we changed from scale, trying to get a bit deeper into detail. Until the 1-to-1 scale. I think we will stop there because it's already quite big. And yes, all objects around the building. So I will go fast. I don't know if I have to explain every image. Here we had the opportunity to make a small portfolio this year, thanks to René Bruxelles. Some mock-ups of materials. Here a picture of the built patio. It opened to the public in September this year. And then in this project, there was a nice dialogue with the client, especially the technical director there, Raymond Delepierre, who was very interested in also in the poetry of things, memory, and also the reuse of materials. So we brought a lot of input, but it was a kind of dialogue with him also. For example, these chairs, you will have one in the exhibition. It came from the Botellarei before. Yes, this is the image. This is emergency lamps. So the fireman was a bit skeptical, but it works, and it comes from Théâtre de Liège. The work for the signage we did with Dear Reader, Eva Mullard. And then it's nice to see that some pictures we did for the project, the technical drawings at the back, and then some pictures from the works were reused by the theater themselves in their communication for the first year of the public season this year. A few sketches, images during the works. thanks to rotor mirrors that come from the VTC and that we use in the project. Some mock-ups of materials. The letters we made with the reader for the billboard. This is the billboard. So in the streets, there is one of the facades that works as a billboard, and you have text changing every I don't know, but this is the first one. Yes, the book. Thank you.
Good evening to everyone. I'd like to thank again all the team from the Across exhibition and conference who have invited us. I'll speak on behalf of my associate Santiago GIUSTO, who's in Argentina because he's Argentinian. I'm Belgian, but he's Argentinian. He couldn't be here tonight. We became friends 12 years ago at the beginning of our study of architecture. Sorry. At the beginning of the studies of architecture in schools in La Cambre, 12 years ago. We now travel between Brussels and Buenos Aires in order to make projects. The function of space. It's been 5 years since Santiago and I started our practice. For the moment, we have done 49 projects. Every one of these projects is an attempt to understand what architecture is. But the ideas that came out of them are still blurry and uncertain. So it is very difficult for us to give a general idea of what our work is about. You can read, however, in the installation of the 7 green-coated objects found on different construction sites, 2 sinks, a heater, a toilet, a bath, a mirror, a frame, and a photograph. On top of the perimeter of the exhibition space, some fascinations and preoccupations that guide our practice. We are obsessed with function, but not by functionality. Architecture is for us air and light, and time and space, but also toilets, beds, kitchens, and sinks. We like to think of function displaced from the conventional use in an attempt to make an architecture that forms function. We like materials, but we are not so interested in materiality. That's why we love colors, not only because of their aesthetic qualities, but because they help materials to transcend their materiality. We have a certain fascination for bathrooms. We like to think they are spaces where the body is in direct relation with architecture. Not that we only want to build bathrooms, but we like to think that we design all space as if they were bathrooms. We are fascinated by mirrors, not because they multiply reality, but because they mask it, and in that sense, unveil the tricks behind any conscious experience. We make plans, drawings, models, collage, sections, but we think one-to-one is the scale in which architecture deploys all its potency. We inherited the architecture of the perimeter and are exploring what to do with it. For that, we tend to think of it not as a limit that defines a void that has then to be occupied, but as a series of weak and diffuse boundaries that relate to very specific forms of life. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Frederic Vandoninck, and I'm from FVWW, Architecten from Antwerp. My partner, Wouter Willems, is also here tonight. Next slide. I would like to thank, first of all, our team. That's a picture of our office on the previous trip. Without them, of course, we couldn't make these nice projects. Thanks Across and A+, for the invitation, for the lecture and the exhibition now. And I think what's really nice is that you really force us to think about what we've been doing. And as it's always so busy and hectic, this is really grateful that you force us to make time for this reflection. At the same time, the question of the exhibition was very interesting for us also, because our first reflex was not to look for an object or not to give an object. We wanted to avoid this kind of fetish of the object, since we believe that in our architecture it's more about the mechanisms and not the object as such. So that was also very grateful to force us to think, how can we show a mechanism in this exhibition and not an object? So after some thinking, by the way, we also have a quite radical archiving system in the office, so there weren't a lot of objects available also. But anyway, what's interesting for us is looking, viewing, and seeing things. And in that way, what we tried to do was make a viewing box, a kijkdoos, to show this mechanism of looking instead of the object, so a mechanism. Every project starts with a thorough look at the site, at the conditions, at the context. Often there is already a seed or a reaction on this context. But also in most of our projects, what we try to do is to make an interesting routing and to steer and to orchestrate the view throughout the project. So that's a quite dynamic thing, and a precise positioning, framing, looking through, looking back, looking down, up, but also blocking the view. We have a lot of projects with hybrid programs, also interesting to make or not make relations between these programs. So the looking and the orchestration of the looking is a fundamental part of our work. And then to conclude, I think the representation of the project, that's also, I think, an interesting exercise, and the exhibition was a good exercise, how to represent a project that's about walking through and looking back and looking past, blocking. So what we made is these 3 viewing boxes, and we literally cut some existing pictures of 3 of our projects. So we deconstructed these images and combined them with mirrors to make a new viewing experience, also as an exercise in how to represent our project, how to represent our architecture. We chose 3 emblematic projects. On the left, our Yper Museum in Yper. In the middle, a housing project, and at the right side, a project together with Dennis Typhus, artist, in the Middelheim Park, which is more a pavilion or a sculpture mediating between those 2. A small image, but I invite you to look at the real thing across the street, of course, of these viewing boxes where we deconstruct the image and combine it with mirrors, and at the same time reflecting the context and trying to illustrate this mechanism of looking and experiencing architecture and orchestrating that through space and time. Thank you.
First of all, I would like to thank everyone, all the partners, for this nice invitation. It's a real honor to be here tonight. I would also like to thank my Laura and Charlotte. We were 3 with PERNEEL OSTEN Architecten. We're an office based in Ghent. So we selected a series of objects for this exhibition, and they all have different scale, size, materiality, tactility, and they were all made on different points of our projects. But what we realized when we were assembling these or selecting these objects is the fact that a lot of them weren't made by ourselves. They were actually made in collaboration with others. And so we would like to thank Thibaut Dessin, Cornel Kannaerts, and Bourdieu for showing these objects with us in this exhibition. And we also think this shows that these collaborations or these dialogues with our peers, with other offices, with our students, because Loer and I are both teachers, but also with other people that we meet in the field are very important for us. And they really enrich our practice. So the first series of objects, or this group of objects, are these great cardboard models. They are models of projects that we have been working on or are working on at the moment in our office. And they all were made more or less on the same point of the design project, of the design process. They were all made in the beginning, as we just finished the design, and then we were going to present it. And then we make these great cardboard models. It's not something that we did intentionally. It just grew organically in our office, and that's with a lot of things. A lot of things in our office grow organically. But now with this exhibition, we took the time to look back on what we did, and if we put them together, you can see that there's sort of an abstraction of what these buildings are going to be, because they're not materialized. Yet they are just like reduced to these great cardboard objects, and we see that there is a dialogue and an interaction in between them. So it's nice to put them together. Another series of objects that we've selected are these drawings and this 3D printed model of this big roof structure. And all these objects, they all look at the same project, but each of them has a different focus. And this looking for these different focuses, looking for these different ways to look at the same thing from all these different points of views is a very important part of our practice. It's try to see the dialogue in between these focuses and trying to intertwine them and look for a coherency in the project itself is something that really fascinates us in architecture, and it really makes us love architecture as well. So these are the drawings for this wooden node. This is actually a 1:2 scale model of this roof structure, and it really shows how we approach the fact that there are limitations on materiality and on the way you have to construct things, but we don't see them as limitations, we see them as inspiration, and we try to use them as inspiration for our practice, and we try to use them to define the architectural or enhance the architectural quality of our projects. This is something we also try to teach our students. This is a 1:1 scale model of one of our students from last year. We have this assignment that we have been working on with a lot of colleagues of us, and our students, these first year students, they have to go out and they have to find a construction site and have to measure an actual construction node, and then they have to copy it in cardboard. And while copying it, they have to make some sort of an abstraction of this joint, but they also have to think about how this cardboard material is going to react completely differently than this joint, which is built in wood or in iron. If you see there, this is not the end of the assignment, unfortunately for our students. If you see there, there's this painted corner in the object, and that results into this. So the students don't only have to look at what is out there, but they also have to look at the things that they are making by themselves, and they have to use them as inspiration for new objects. This object has a completely different materiality than the one before. And what we tell our students, because they're working so hard and have to think so much about what they're doing and have to really, they're really into the things that they're making, and then we say, all right, forget everything that you've thought about, forget all the hard work, just step back and enjoy this beautiful object, and try to look at the aesthetic of the object. Not like I'm saying something completely different than the other than the other officers that have been here before on the stage. But this is something we do as well as an office. We try to step back and just enjoy the aesthetic of some things and just let all the hard work that's behind it, just let it rest. This is something that we've seen in our office as well. We were looking for, all right, what are we going to show in this exhibition? And we're actually working on a facade right now, and we're always a little bit afraid to use color because we think we will get bored of the color. And these are the color samples that we asked. These aren't actually all the color samples, there are more. We asked to make for this facade. And if you look at them in the office, the color samples, you take them to the construction site, they're in the back, they're like damaged. But then if you place them in a series, they become this object, or they have their own aesthetic and become interesting to look at. So this is something we tried to do with this exhibition. On the one hand, we hope they just give you the joy to look at these objects as aesthetic objects and just enjoy the architectural quality of them. But also, we hope they invite you or they challenge you to look for the correlation and the dialogue in between them. Thank you.
So, good evening, everyone. Thank you to be there. I'm gonna try to make it fast. It was a really good opportunity for us to look back for 4 years of production. So I try to translate all the folder we have on our computer. It's the main composition of it is project and candidature, and a lot of candidature with the Bouwmeester. And after seeing our old project, we picked some pieces and we proposed them to BOZAR and all the team, and we finally pick different. I just want to read one quote from our lecture because it's our last project, because our conference was on Tuesday. So I'm going to read it. The Architecten program must inspire and stimulate the development of a team which can subsequently give direction to the design. It is precisely the team that must free the program from the confine of architecture for its own sake by emphasis social, political, and philosophical consideration. The more complex the team, the more layered and the richer the design can become. Conversely, an all too simple team will not be able to produce more than superficial results, and it's precisely this lack of layerness of the team that is to blame for the shallowness from which so many designs suffer today. We don't want to make a conclusion about architecture. It was just our conclusion to read all the paths we come through with Pauline. And I'm gonna pass really fast. It's all the object we're gonna present. The first project we made, we built a didactic model for a museum. It's composed with all the materials we used in the project. We have a proposition for the MRH to transform the classical gallery, and which the Paris Capitale from Walter Benjamin was the reference. We asked for Eva Leroy to make a synthesis drawing about our proposition for the Tournai railway station. And one of the last projects we built was a 3-apartment de carrosserie, and we were super enthusiastic about the relationship we had to them. So we proposed with Maxime Delvaux to have some specific picture on it. And it illustrates the relationship between the materials and the people we have a conversation with. And we really like the different kind of attitude those guys have with the photographer. And for one of the key projects we have last year was the proposition on Euralille, on the OMAS Euralille project. We tried to propose with artists kind of a new paradigm, an actual one of this urban space. We are absolutely persuaded that the OMAS project was plenty of fantasy and joy in the 90s, but we tried to reread this project and introduce some animals' presence in those cities. And the last project it's in the finishing actually, and it will open in the 10th of December. It's a little bar for the L'Hermitage, a young brewery in Brussels. So the masterpiece is, because there is no so much money, it's a big and direct stairs we put inside. And and the Louvre Lens, I can't really talk about it, but because we don't have the result, but we were really proud to participate at this competition, because it is a reference for us. So we are hoping winning. And to finish, I want to talk about teaching, because we are both teachers, and it takes a lot of time in our days. And I want to illustrate this to illustrate the way we are producing images and we are trying to understand space with students. Well, and that's finished, and we would like to thank across, and I really want to thank Pauline for the work we have together.
Thank you all for your presentation, which gave us an idea of what we will soon discover in the exhibition space. All this shows the diversity you represent. I would like to thank AGMEN, VERS.A, MURMUUR, OUEST, GIUSTO van CAMPENHOUT, FVWW, PERNEEL, OSTEN and NOR for playing the game and for being part of this adventure with us until the very end. It is a pleasure to see you all together on this occasion tonight. As you have noticed from the impressive number of speakers this evening, this exhibition is the result of great collaborations at all levels, collaboration between a number of partners and sponsors, and collaboration with 8 architecture offices, and also repeated collaboration this year with Vin, Thomas, and Jochen from LMS, who managed to think and design a scenography that brings 8 monographic exhibitions together in one group show. A strong challenge of which we are very delighted and that we can't wait to share. Therefore, I wanted to thank all 3 of you for the energy you put into this project, as well as Leon from Wormen, who produced and installed everything perfectly. The exhibition, in direct link to the public space just there, is like a lantern in the city. It reveals a content that changed every week. So every week during 8 weeks, an office will be on show to present its work to the few thousand people passing by every day. Tonight, exceptionally, on the occasion of this opening, one object from each office is displayed in the vitrine to show this eclectic gathering, behind which the collective grammar specific to this generation of architects is displayed in the same way as a real cabinet de curiosité. The accomplishment of this project is personally dear to me, because a year ago, the first edition of the Across exhibition marked the beginning of the co-coordination of programming at A+, between Roxane and I, and myself, sorry. Today, the second edition marks the end of it. I would therefore like to thank everyone here tonight, but above all, merci à Roxane, que j'admire pour son enthousiasme, son efficacité, son exigence et son soutien. Tu m'as transmis énormément cette année. Merci à la collègue que tu as été, mais surtout à l'ami que tu es pour moi. I now officially invite you all to go and discover the exhibition in the vitrine across the street. And you can also take a drink upstairs, offered by all cultural and subsidy partners and the Lafarge Holcim Foundation. And enjoy your evening, and thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you.